Hi there, I'm Steve from Eliza Tinsley, and in this video we're going to take a look at how to fit hook and band hinges onto a normal domestic garden gate. Tools you might typically need for this installation are a pencil, a tape measure, a screwdriver, a power drill, drill bits, a set square, and a 17mm socket or spanner. So here we have our hooks and bands. Pre-packed packets come with fixings. Here's the band, there's the hook. These are actually cranked for gates moving between the posts. Now I'm using a 10-inch here, but typically on a smaller gate like this you'd go approximately a third of the width of the gate. Okay, so now we're going to look at fitting the band onto the bottom of the gate. We've got a crank, so the crank goes up against the edge there. Roughly fitted there, make a small line. Then use our set square to make a nice straight line and ensure the band is straight. So we can line the band up against there like that. Just make some marks for pilot holes to drill just there. 1, 2, 3. Get our drill. Just some very small pilot holes for the screws. Then of course the section there is for the coach bolt, which is that size, so we need to drill something that will clear about a 10mm bolt. In this circumstance, I'm going to drill an initial pilot hole. So there we have our 2 pilot holes drilled and a hole drilled that will accommodate the coach bolt. So now we match our band up again. We can put our screws in initially. 1 wood screw in there. Using my screwdriver bit to put this in here for speed. 1 in fairly loose. Make sure you're in line and put a second one in, something like that. Okay. Next we have the coach bolt that will drop through there and lock onto the band. Now this may be slightly too long for the wood, as indeed is this. So I'm going to measure beneath the wood and we'll see how much we've got to cut off. So here we see the bolt protruding at the back of the gate. You don't want all of that thread out there, so we're going to measure that to about 45mm. Take that down to about 10mm protruding from the gate. So here I'm going to cut off about 35mm from the end of the coach bolt. Tightly in a vise. And we'll measure around 35mm from the end of there. Just going to about there. And of course leave the nut on, which will make it nice and tidy at the end. Just file the edge of that down there. By leaving the nut on, when we've cut the thread, when we take the nut off, it leaves it nice and tidy, something like that. So now we can place our coach bolt into to the band, locks in there with the square, and fix our nut onto the bottom, which is where our ratchet or spanner comes in. There we go. First band is nice and secure. And you use exactly the same procedure for the bottom hinges as you have done for the top. So now we have the hinges on our gate, all we now need to do is to offer the gate up to the gate posts and fix on the pins. So if we mark it off for the pins like this, okay, we've got our one marked hole there, so we're just going to mark off the other, making sure the pin is completely straight, just under an inch. Just under an inch there. So we mark off our other holes. And then we can drill. Right, we're just going to drill some small pilot holes here now for mounting the pins. So with the pilot holes now drilled, we can fix the pin to the post. We put the screws in loosely by hand to start with so that they are retained. Okay. And we can let the drill do the rest of the work. That is now nicely secured. Next thing is, of course, to fit the bottom pin. We match it up just the same as we did with the top pin. We just make sure that that gap is equal in between. There we go. Again, a single mark will suffice, and we can remove the gate. Put it on there. We make sure this is straight. Okay, so with our pilot holes drilled, we can now mount the pin on the hinge post. Put the screws in by hand to start with, as we did with the top. And they should be nice and straight because we have measured it. It usually pays just to measure the pin from the side of the closing post. You can use a spirit level, but that doesn't mean that the ground is particularly level. So there we go. There we have our two pins mounted. So now with all the fixings in place, we just need to see whether it fits. Now some people do mount the top pin upside down just to stop the gate being lifted off. You can do this, but you usually find that once there's a Brenton bolt fitted at the other end of the gate, it's secure enough. If you want to add to that security though, you can just drill a little hole through the pins and put a cotter pin through there to stop it being lifted up.